market tanked on Wednesday. We got this CNBC article here. NASDAQ was down over 2% on Wednesday. And that was because Fitch ratings, they actually downgraded the US credit rating. So Fitch Ratings is one of these agencies. They downgraded the US's credit rating from AAA to AA+, which, it still sounds pretty good, doesn't it? AA+.
I mean, it sounds all right.
Right. I mean, I think when I was a kid, the highest grade was A+ or A* or something. So AA+ still sounds great, but it's a downgrade for the US. And let's have a look at the reason. So this is their press release from Fitch Ratings. And I'll read you out the reading. So the rating downgrade of the United States reflects the expected fiscal deterioration over the next 3 years, a high and growing general government debt burden, and erosion of governance relative to AA and AAA rated peers over the last 2 decades. That has manifested in repeated debt limit standoffs and last-minute resolutions. So, what they're talking about is, how in the US, Mike, we always have those debt ceiling crisis negotiations, right? They're always negotiating the debt ceiling and they leave it to the last minute.
Yeah, the political tool of debt negotiations seems to be the constant medium between the two parties, left and right.
Right. And they intentionally do that. I think last time it was like the Republicans wanted to negotiate on it, and Biden purposefully ignored them for like months until it was like a week away or something.
We don't know if that was on purpose or if he just didn't see what was going on.
Right. Yeah. Both sides do it though. Don't think we're just attacking one side. Both sides do it. They use it as a political tool. And it's interesting. Guess how many countries in the world have a debt ceiling? It's not very many.
10?
No, even less.
Really?
2. The US and Denmark are the only 2 countries that have this policy where they make a debt ceiling that's like enshrined in law, and they have to pass a new law to borrow more money. It's only the US and Denmark.
So Canada can just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing?
Other countries, yeah, they don't have to pass a law. Maybe they have some process internally, but they don't have to do like an act of Congress or an act of Parliament to be able to borrow beyond their debt limit. It's only the US and Denmark that do this.
I guess that's kind of good, actually. It should be a little bit more thorough, I think, than saying, we'll spend another $10 billion more than we have next year.
Right, without having to debate it in their Congress or Parliament or whatever, So yeah, you could see both sides. You could see it as good, but then other countries, obviously their process of borrowing is more streamlined. They can just do it without passing a law. But anyway, so of the things that they quoted, growing debt, and also with that debt, you have growing interest rates because you have growing interest payments because the interest rates are going up. Okay, so the US is paying much more interest on its debt now that rates are higher. So in 2022, the US government spent $476 billion just paying interest on the debt. And that was up from $352 billion in 2021. And the Congressional Budget Office projects that in 2023, the US will spend $663 billion just on interest on the debt, which is kind of spiraling out of control. Although, it sounds bad, but actually the historic high interest to GDP ratio was 3.2%, and that was in 1991. So we're still not there yet. We're about 2.5% of GDP is our interest payment. But, it's getting close, and we're getting close to the military budget. I mean, it's 600. I think in 2024, they project $745 billion on interest, which is pretty close to what we spend on our military budget. So yeah, it will hit that historic high 3.2% of GDP by, I think it's 2027. So in the next few years, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's an astronomical amount of money when you really think about it. The other thing that I was thinking about is why is it so in Powell's best interest for his nation is not to raise the interest rates and create deflation, but to stay on the course, basically he's going to create deflation, keeping and raising interest rates, where the dollar is going to start to actually gain in more value than lose value.
Well, if he manages, if he takes it that far, although probably because their target is 2%, isn't it, inflation? So probably once he gets to 2%, he'll start lowering again.
I mean, we're getting close to it. I would say that uh, the the word is all the way until October. Keep raising, keep raising. So, and now with this, and knowing that our credit rating, the other thing is what did Moody's and S&P?
So okay, so Moody's hasn't Standard and Poor's and Moody's haven't decreased it yet. Fitch Ratings is the one that yeah. So this is only one credit rating agency that did this.
So you think Moody's will downgrade and S&P will too?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe not.
It just seems kind of ridiculous. The likelihood of us defaulting on our debt is absolutely zero.
It's zero. Yeah, it's zero.
It's just not going to happen no matter what. And so what this really does is it allows a play for people who are in the market to go, all right, buy the dip.
Yeah, buy the dip or buy government debt, U.S. government debt.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, right now, Apple stock it dropped pretty significantly.
It didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and now you have a lot of different stocks that kind of just fell off. And when you look at it from a timeline perspective, it's not really that much. It's still up year to date, but nonetheless, there's an opportunity that's knocking. Again, not financial advice, but there's something there to be had right now in buying and doing a swing trade and things like that. So that's the advantage, and it makes me wonder if who's in charge of this Fitch grading company, and does BlackRock have anything to do with it? No, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, like what made them say this? They just came out of the blue and kind of said it. No one really expected it to happen.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of out of the blue because there wasn't any event that triggered it. It was sort of over the last, they quoted the last several decades and the next 3 years. But I mean, we're seeing how much interest the US is paying. The budget is going to definitely be tight over the next 2 years. So.
Well, it'll be tight, but at the same time, we can just cut a lot of our spending. I mean, that's the biggest problem with the United States budget is that there's not open spending. We don't know what they're spending money on. We have no idea. There's so many covert operations and secrecy inside of our government that we don't know where all this money's going. Where does it go? Where does all the money come from? We know that it comes from our people. Where does it all go? No one has any idea.
That's true.